Allison, and here's a look at what's going on this week in the news. We begin with news from Rome. Pope Francis has written an article in one of Italy's major secular newspapers, Rome's daily La Repubblica. In the letter published September 11th, the Pope replied to recent articles by Eugenio Scalfari, a co-founder and former editor-in-chief of the newspaper. The Pope called for a sincere and rigorous dialogue between the Church and non-believers as an expression of Christian love. He explained that dialogue between Christians and those of no religious faith could open doors for a serious and fertile encounter between the two cultures, which have lost the ability to communicate due largely to modern views of faith. He said that the impulse toward communication springs out of the very nature of Christian faith. It is extremely rare for a pope to contribute to a secular newspaper. In December of 2012, Britain's Financial Times published an article on the meaning of Christmas by Pope Benedict XVI. In news now from the Vatican, Pope Francis will visit the Italian island of Sardinia September 22nd. While there, the Pope will meet with workers, prisoners, the poor, young people, religious, and the island's bishops. He will also pray at the sanctuary of Our Lady of Bonaria and celebrate a Mass outside the Basilica. It will be his second apostolic journey to an Italian city outside of Rome. The Pope announced in May that he wished to visit the city of Cagliari because he wanted to venerate the icon there of Our Lady of Bonaria, which means good ear or fair wind, and is the namesake of his native city of Buenos Aires. More news now from Rome. Pope Francis visited the Rome headquarters of Jesuit Refugee Service this past week. He met with hundreds of refugees from around the world. Rome Reports has more on the visit.
With a cheering crowd in the background, Pope Francis visited the Astalli Refugee Center in Rome. He began by meeting a group of volunteers who last year alone helped over 20,000 people. And one by one, the Pope then greeted 40 refugees from different parts of the world. He then sat with them while sipping a cup of mate, the traditional Argentinian tea. And during his speech, the Pope said one should serve, accompany, and defend refugees.
Penso soprattutto alle donne, alle mamme che sopportano questo pur di assicurare un futuro ai loro figli e una speranza di vita diversa per se stesse e la famiglia.
Isabel left her native Colombia 13 years ago. As a political refugee, she says the Pope's words meant a lot, both personally and spiritually. So who exactly are refugees? Well, we're people who escape from armed conflicts, from wars. We don't leave because we want to leave our home country behind. No. In addition to the Pope's call to serve, accompany, and defend, the Pope made a very direct request. Instead of using empty convents as improvised hotels, the Pope invited religious to use the convents to shelter refugees. When the Pope invited religious to open the doors of their convents, it's a strong sign that correlates to a concrete and real problem. Institutions that provide shelter are facing a crisis. 33-year-old Adam Siddiq also met with the Pope. He fled his native Sudan to escape a violent war, and he says centers like this one offered him incredible support. The Astalli Center has helped me so much, not just me, but so many other refugees. When you arrive to a country, you look for a place to sleep, to eat, and a way to learn the language. The Astalli Center gave me this support, and it's very special to me. The Astalli Center is managed by Jesuits. After his speech at the Jesuit Church, the Pope prayed before the tomb of Father Pedro Arrupe. The founder of the Jesuit Service for Refugees was laid to rest at that very church.
Looking now at news from around the world, France's government has enacted a 17-point charter which describes the nation as an indivisible, secular, democratic, and social republic, assuring equality before the law to all citizens and respect for all beliefs. With the enactment of this charter, Monsignor Bernard Podvin, spokesman for Francis Bishops' Conference, is urging the government to ensure the charter does not impede religious freedom. He told the French Catholic daily La Croix that although church officials understood why the government sent the document to schools, secularism must not be limited to negating and hindering religions. The charter imposes a duty of strict neutrality on teachers, barring any display of political or religious convictions, and says students cannot invoke a religious or political conviction to avoid any topics. Monsignor Padvin said Catholic leaders understood that politicians feared people would use religion as an identity emblem, but added that religious faith formed part of the French values of liberty, equality, and fraternity. In 2004, France passed a law banning ostentatious religious symbols from schools, while a new school course, Secular Morality, is to be introduced in 2015. And finally in the news, the U.S. News & World Report's annual rankings of colleges and universities has been released, and many Catholic schools are near or at the top of the lists. The University of Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana is the top-ranked Catholic national university on the list, placing 18th in the magazine's annual survey. Georgetown University in Washington earned the 20th spot, and Boston College placed 31st. Catholic schools swept the top 3 spots in the North Region rankings, with Villanova University in Pennsylvania taking first place, Providence College in Rhode Island in second, and Fairfield University in Connecticut finishing third. Also in the region's top 10 was Loyola University, Maryland in sixth, the University of Scranton in Pennsylvania in eighth, and Marist College in Poughkeepsie, New York. And that is all the information we have for you. I'm Kevin Nelson, and don't forget, you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV Network.